Hey YouTube, and welcome to another ranked 1v1 video. It starts very interestingly as Firstkiller maybe cues into his game and doesn't realize that it has started, so Wisty takes a free goal. But we're going to be watching two games of Firstkiller, who has been playing in the past couple days. He's currently rated number 5. Oh my goodness, Wisty. He's rated number 5 in the world, and I think ever since the Ranked Royale, a lot of the top players have kept up in their ranked games as they try to stay rated high. Daniel has surpassed even higher, somewhere in the top 3. Zen is at number 1. But we're going to see how these games with Firstkiller go. Now, Wisty is the guy in the Ranked Royale who was just outside of qualifying immediately. If you remember, the top 3 players in this tournament I ran recently made it directly to the main event. Wisty, nice little eligible bump. Bit of an unconventional way to score it as he drops it in off the post. But Wisty was a guy who almost qualified directly in, but was able to win a few show matches after being the number 1 seed in the qualifier as he dashes his way back to the corner. So it should be a good matchup. He got spotted 1 goal in this one, so we'll see how that favors him as he's up 3-1 now against Firstkiller. Wisty, if you didn't know, I'll check the ping here real quick. South American player, 132 ping to Firstkiller's 32. And not a lot of South American players are willing to deal with this. You'll never really see Yan play any US East games, as well as a ton of other top 1s players. But Wisty and KV1, that's a nice pre-flip around the ball to end up popping it back to the left side behind Wisty by Firstkiller. But you'll see KV1 and you'll see Wisty, they're willing to play through the pain. And it almost feels like KV1 actually is a little bit less willing now that he's maybe played more games on US East for various lands or more even ping matches when he's come over, whereas Wisty hasn't yet. So Wisty, if he wants to play against the best, he has no other choice but to do it on US East or hope that KV1 or Yan Q, which is just not something you can do in actual practice. So he has to continue to deal with 132. His matches against Firstkiller will be heavily disadvantaged. But right now it doesn't really matter. You know, we've seen other players who were forged in the fires of bad ping, and the Middle East certainly has shown that you can become top players while doing that. But it is a little bit different. Some Middle East players are getting green ping on EU, whereas there is no shot, not a single SAM player is getting green ping when they queue US East. They are dealing with, honestly, this is a good server. 132 for Wisty is a pretty good server for him, so I'm sure he feels glad about that. I wonder if they just forfeit out of the 160, because there are some 160 USC servers. It's just, I mean, they probably can't afford to forfeit out of them, but I'm sure they wish they could and just try and get at least a slightly better server. But Firstkiller right now playing a bit of the ground game, and it seems to be working well. We saw him go for that pre-flip flick that tapped the ball down past Wisty. This time, Wisty gives him a ton of space as he sets up a ball carry, and he just launches it over the top. Wisty now, kickoff win. Fakes the aerial, goes for another bump. I mean, he has gone back to the tried and true method. If Firstkiller isn't going to be challenging him earlier, there's no reason why he can't just continue to bump. Firstkiller needs to either adjust and get those early reads to get over the top of the bumps, or just needs to challenge Wisty before letting him get a clean possession. Firstkiller, this is a freebie double. Might be tough for the likes of you and me, but you know Firstkiller is keeping that directly into the net, and not only that, right on the crossbar. Absolutely no window for Wisty to take it away, and it's another kickoff win for Firstkiller. Neither one of these guys have played much aerial game so far. First, just tried to accelerate the ball early after getting his reset. Maybe didn't feel comfortable with how far away he was from the net, using a ton of boost and holding on to the flip. So instead, just using the flip early. Now he's got Wisty chasing him around the map, and he's able to escape in order to tie the game. Wisty, direct kickoff win. I don't think Firstkiller's getting back to this one. So he regains his lead. That is kind of off the back of a gifted goal at the start of the game. Wisty, yeah, if he could play this quickly, he actually can score on Firstkiller, who's recovering later, but he can't do it with a sidewall shot. He probably has to do it with a setup off the backboard. kind of backboard doubles that you see the top players being really comfortable with, but they aren't easy, and they're pretty all-in plays. So you really only see it from the fastest and most comfortable players in the air. Wisty probably better off not even taking that side flip, if I'm being honest, because Firstkiller is going to be able to save it so easily. And even if he did target the one-time shot off the wall, well, I think Firstkiller still has that save because it's just not quite as quick and unpredictable as a really fast double might be. Wisty's okay. Still tie game for him. Firstkiller given a ton of space, and he's decided to set up a bounce dribble into the air. He's liked his aerial game, and for good reason. I mean, he has been picking Wisty apart. Wisty has had, you know, maybe the ground advantage or maybe just a ground equal match, which is where Wisty wants to keep the game. Firstkiller recognizing in the last half that the air is dominated by him. Much closer shadow this time, forcing Wisty to lose control of the ball. It's the kind of stuff that Firstkiller wasn't doing earlier in the game, letting Wisty set up those air dribble bumps. And now Wisty's doing the right thing. Firstkiller has been really exaggerating his slow play in order to start those aerials, and Wisty was just sitting back and letting him do that. Now, turning and challenging before Firstkiller gets going here on this one. Wisty should put in at least something. Small fake challenge. Save off the backboard. Firstkiller's going to have to leave and decides to set it across the net before Wisty takes control. He wants another air dribble bump, and he got it. 7-7. Wisty tying it up with 21 seconds left to go. Firstkiller probably wishing that he had been ready to go when the ranked match starts. Wisty this time off the kickoff. Not a ton of boost to work with. Firstkiller does not fall for that fake, knowing he couldn't really get the ball high. Strong first touch. Wisty just trying to rush to the net. Air dribble bump again, man. Wisty, he knows what's been working for him, and he's sticking with it. Wait, Firstkiller might be able to score this without any overtime. Firstkiller wins this one 8-7, punishing Wisty finally for those air dribble bumps. I mean, Wisty actually farmed them. Did Wisty leave the game? Oh, no, I couldn't find him. For a second, they left the game. But we have one more match between Firstkiller and Wisty. I think it queued up pretty much right after this one, so we'll check that one out as well. Second match between these two. It'll be interesting to see the adjustments from Firstkiller on the air dribble bump. Wisty can't get away with that forever. It's certainly a reliable method of scoring, but not as an only method of scoring. Defenders will usually recognize how they can stop it. There's a lot of different ways. The toughest one of the ways, I would say, is the way you'll see Daniel and Rawas, I think, do really well. Rawas probably does it the best. Getting up over the top of air dribble bumps. Basically giving space, shadowing still, and then making up for it anyways by being an insane defender. Not a lot of people can successfully do that. Normally, you give a player space and you're just going to get scored on in the air dribble bump, so you got to try and challenge earlier, prevent those situations from ever arising. Wisty high up on the wall, and Firstkiller is just deciding to let Wisty go crazy and play it as simple as possible. He just slammed the post. I don't know if he's trying to get Wisty to miss. Okay, finally he got it in. But he had to have known he was slamming post, considering he set that up for like 20 minutes before finally front flipping it there. Maybe he just wanted Wisty to miss. I mean, it worked out. Got him to be wild in net again. Wisty is really trying to be unpredictable right now. It didn't work for this. He's going almost to the ceiling to challenge. Let's see what kind of ping he got on this server. A little bit worse here. 144 in this second game. Firstkiller, ball to air dribble. Wisty just doesn't have the answer right now. He bumps Firstkiller off the double. I think Firstkiller actually was on pace to hit the backboard and double it in. Wisty, who, whether he was going for the ball or not, ended up just bumping Firstkiller out of the way of doubling it. But it's still going to be another Firstkiller goal. 3-0. Firstkiller is mad about the previous game, and he is trying to show that he is the better 1v1 player. Wave dash kickoff from Firstkiller. That actually goes in favor of Wisty. You know he's going to try and go to the ground. Actually pops the ball early instead of trying to collect it. Well-timed challenge from Wisty right when Firstkiller is not going to be able to really control the ball as he comes to the ground. Firstkiller did his best in an attempt to jump and get a solid challenge, but Wisty took it away. Oh, this is going to be a direct kickoff goal. Wisty right back in it after a couple nice plays. This kickoff win might even tie the game. Firstkiller actually gets back in time. He's in a really tough spot. Wisty's going to try and cut this ball directly back at the net as quick as possible. Make Firstkiller play on 0 boost. It's the right play. And he's able to just get some goal line movements to tie the game. As soon as you have your opponent low, don't take a wide angle. Don't move around to get to your favorite spot. Force the issue and make them play on 0 boost. And if you're Firstkiller, just win kickoffs into wall to air dribbles and you can hit shots like that. But my guess is that the majority of us out here are not Firstkiller. Wisty thinks he sees an opening for a long shot, and he almost did. Firstkiller showed space, maybe played right into his hands where he's still able to get the save. Now a setup off the wall into the ceiling. Wisty actually challenged it well. Does he have enough boost to get around and score it? He does. Needed a lot of boost left over because he launched himself so far away from where the ball was headed. But still a really solid time challenge right when the ball's above Firstkiller. He's not protecting it at all. I think Wisty was hoping maybe for some kind of late touch that would turn into a shot. Firstkiller knows where he has the dominance right now. That is anywhere above the net. So every time he has the ball, that's where he's going. Up again, this reset. Wisty tried to pre-jump it. Wisty just cannot stop him there. I mean, if you're Wisty, we talked earlier about Firstkiller needing to come and stop Wisty from setting up those dribbles into air dribbles. Well, right now, Wisty just has to go full aggression and never let Firstkiller get a comfortable aerial setup. And, you know, maybe he was slightly doing that here. I really don't think he was putting that much pressure on Firstkiller. I think that's just a Firstkiller mistake. But he does want to be around the ball to prevent First from getting anything going. Right now, kickoff win. A couple camera checks to make sure he's got time to play his own aerial game. We haven't really seen Wisty attack in the air much, and a nice fake reset. Maybe Wisty needs to be using that a bit more. He obviously is not comfortable enough with it to use it at all in the first game, and not until under the 2-minute mark here. But some variation was always going to be necessary if you wanted to beat Firstkiller, who's able to ultimately secure his kickoff goal, even though Wisty saves the first attempt. So it is another close one between these two. Wisty, he is certainly getting more of these direct kickoff goals. Something about the South Americans, KV1 loves to get 2 to 3, maybe even more a game. Slight delay. Wisty decides no wall to air dribble. He's going to take it right to the ground. And he kind of ran out of space. Flicks it over the top, and he's not able to pick up the midfield boost. Now, some camera checks. He knows he's going to be forced to try and make a save at this tough position. Wisty probably needed to just try and roll the ball down, low 50, see if he could then starve Firstkiller out on the goal line. Might have been better than going for that flick. Of course, maybe kept the flick down a little bit. Put it on target. That also would have worked. Firstkiller off the wall. 50. This is one of the few times Firstkiller hasn't immediately converted in the air, but he still might convert as Wisty is very starved out. Oh, that boost did not spawn perfectly for him, and Firstkiller misses wide, so there's still a chance, but it is now Firstkiller to basically a kickoff situation where he's got the midfield wall to air dribble, little ceiling touch, goes for the double. Oh my goodness, Wisty has the save. That was actually an insanely clutch save. The time when Wisty has never stopped Firstkiller in the air, and the flick is a bit late. That's going to be a counterattack goal. Wisty, just in these crucial moments, he's got Firstkiller in net. He needs to put on at least a good enough shot to prevent these counterattacks, and he just hasn't been able to. You can see he's very much trying to avoid the air dribble bump, because I think he could have tried a bump play on that last one, but he's done with going for those. Right now he's down 1. All right, he's got another clutch moment. He's going to go back to the air dribble bump. I'm guessing he will, considering he needs something now, and he actually just didn't set it up well enough. He didn't get in front of the ball. That was not really much of an air dribble bump. It was more just an air dribble, so Firstkiller going to have absolutely no trouble stopping it. Seems like he's just a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more clutch in these final moments, whereas Wisty seems searching for something to do and can't quite find it. Those flicks late just going very awry, and Firstkiller never looked worried. So 2 wins for Firstkiller over Wisty in ranked. It's great to see Firstkiller and Wisty, everybody playing 1v1 ranked. So we'll check out and see if we can see more replays from the top players in the future. If there's anybody you'd like to see playing, make sure you let me know. But of course, look at the top of the leaderboard, because if they aren't up there, that means they're probably not playing. I won't be able to find their replays. So couple games from Firstkiller. I'm getting over a little bit of a sickness that I picked up from San Diego land. Hopefully it won't be going on for much longer. Streams will be back. Show matches will be back. Anyways, thanks for hanging out, guys. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe.